MCQs on drugs acting in heart failure. So in this video, let us see the different types of multiple choice questions on the topic the drugs acting in the heart failure. In the heart failure, various category of drugs are used, and in this video let us see how the questions may be asked and how we can solve these questions along with explanation. Given below are the list of the drugs that can be used in various cardiovascular disorders. Identify the drug that is indicated for the cardiogenic shock. Options are A. Dobutamine, B. Sotalol, C. Imidazole, and D. Amlodipine. So these are the options for this question, and we have to identify what is the drug that is used for the cardiogenic shock. Before going to that, let us see what are the other options and how they can be used. For example, if you see the amlodipine. Amlodipine is a calcium channel blocker belonging to the dihydropyridine category, and it mainly acts as a vasodilator used in the treatment of hypertension and angina. And imidazole is a potassium channel blocker which is used as an antiarrhythmic agent. And sotalol is a potassium channel blocker as well as a beta blocker, and again it is used as a antiarrhythmic agent. So the final one is the dobutamine. Dobutamine is a beta 1 agonist which is used for the cardiogenic shock. So dobutamine is the right answer for this question. Cardiogenic shock is a condition where the heart is unable to pump and the pumping efficiency of the heart is going to be reduced. And most of the times cardiogenic shock is associated with a heart attack where the heart is not working and pumping of the heart is suddenly stopped. In such situation, there is a reduced cardiac output. If the cardiac output is not restored immediately, it may lead to the fatal conditions like the coma and death of the patient. In such emergency situations, we have to increase the cardiac output by a drug which increases the force of contraction of the heart. Now, dobutamine is one of the drug which is going to act on the beta 1 receptors, thereby it can increase the rate and force of contraction of the heart. By increasing both rate and force of contraction, the cardiac output is going to be increased. In this way, dobutamine can be used in the emergency condition like the cardiogenic shock. Next question. The muscarinic receptors present on the heart are linked with. Options are P. Increase in the cyclic AMP, Q. Decrease in the cyclic AMP, R. Increase in the IP3 and diacylglycerol, and S. Opening of the potassium channels. So here we have to select the multiple answers. So option A is P and S, and B Q and R, C P and R, and D Q and S. So muscarinic receptors present on the heart are linked with decrease in the cyclic AMP as well as opening of potassium channels. So Q and S is the right answer for this question. Now let us see what is the explanation for this. Within the heart, M2 receptors are expressed which are going to mediate the parasympathetic actions. These M2 receptors are G protein coupled receptors which can be classified as a G alpha I. That means they are working through the alpha subunit and they are inhibitory in nature. And they can also be classified as a G alpha 0. That means they can act independent of the alpha subunit of the G protein. Now these M2 receptors being G protein coupled receptors, they can have the two targets like either enzymes or ion channels. Now these M2 receptors can target the enzymes, and one of the important enzyme is the adenylyl cyclase. As the M2 receptors are inhibitory in nature, they will inhibit the adenylyl cyclase system, thereby they decrease the levels of cyclic AMP within the heart. And M2 receptors can also act on the ion channels, and they can activate the outward going potassium channels which produce the hyperpolarization. At the same time, they can also block the inward going calcium channels which are actually responsible for the depolarization of the heart. So now these M2 receptors can decrease the cyclic AMP as well as they open the potassium channels and close the calcium channels. By all of these actions, they can inhibit the heart. In this way, M2 receptors are inhibitory in nature, thereby they reduce the rate and force of contraction of the heart. Let us go to the next question. All of the following are the actions of the sympathetic system on the heart except. Options are A. Increase in the force of contraction. B. Increase in the automaticity. C. Decreased AV conduction. And D. Reduced cardiac efficiency. So sympathetic system can stimulate the heart, thereby it can increase the rate and force of contraction, automaticity. But the decrease in the AV conduction is not the action of the sympathetic system. Actually, this is the action of the parasympathetic system. Now let us see how sympathetic system acts on the heart. Sympathetic system acts on the heart through the beta 1 receptors. These beta 1 receptors are again G protein coupled receptors which are coupled with the increase in the cyclic AMP. As the cyclic AMP levels are increased within the heart, they can stimulate the heart, resulting in the increased rate of contraction, force of contraction, increase in the cardiac output, and increase in the automaticity. So in this way, the beta 1 receptors will stimulate the heart, thereby both rate and force of contraction increases. But this may result in the increased cardiac work, so sympathetic system always increase the cardiac work. So this increase in the cardiac work is persisting for a longer period, it can reduce the cardiac efficiency. So even though sympathetic system is going to increase the rate and force of contraction, by overstimulation for a longer period it can decrease the cardiac efficiency. So all these are the actions of the sympathetic system. So this we can observe particularly in the heart failure. In the heart failure, sympathetic system is going to be stimulated so that it can increase the rate and force of contraction, thereby it can increase the cardiac output. But when the sympathetic system is stimulated persistently for a longer period, finally it can reduce the cardiac efficiency. Next question. The important effect of the natriuretic peptides in heart failure is? Options are A. Increase in the sodium excretion in the kidney. B. Release of aldosterone. C. Release of antidiuretic hormone. And D. Release of endothelin. Release of aldosterone is mediated by one of the important mediator, angiotensin II. Angiotensin II works by renin-angiotensin system and it increases the aldosterone secretion, thereby it increases the sodium reabsorption. But natriuretic peptides are working in opposite direction. Natriuretic peptides increase the sodium excretion in the kidney, thereby they decrease the body volume. So A is the right answer for this question. Natriuresis. Natriuresis is the excretion of the sodium in the kidney. So in the heart failure, there is a decreased cardiac output and we can restore the cardiac output by either decrease in the demand or increase in the efficiency. So one of the approach to treat the heart failure is to increase the cardiac efficiency. How can we increase the cardiac efficiency? Cardiac efficiency can be increased by decreasing the cardiac work. The cardiac work is related with the body volume. As the body volume increases, the volume of the blood that is going to be pumped increases, thereby cardiac work increases. So cardiac work can be reduced by decreasing the body volume. We can reduce the body volume by using the diuretics, otherwise by using the few of the compounds which increase the sodium excretion within the kidney. So such type of drugs are the natriuretic peptides. Natriuretic peptides increase the natriuresis, thereby increase the excretion of the sodium and they reduce the body volume. As the body volume reduces, cardiac work reduces, thereby cardiac efficiency increases. So we have three types of natriuretic peptides within the body: ANP, BNP and CNP. ANP is the atrial natriuretic peptide and BNP is the brain natriuretic peptide, and CNP is the one of the natriuretic peptide that is present in the many of the tissues like the lungs, kidney, endothelial cells and etc. Among these, the BNP is one of an important natriuretic peptide that is released in the heart failure, which increase the natriuresis, thereby reduce the body volume. Next question. Listed below are few of the drugs indicated in the heart failure. Identify the prodrugs from the following. So here P is the digoxin, Q carvedilol, R enalapril, S dobutamine. So options are A QR, B PS, C P only and D R only. So here we have to identify what are the prodrugs. So among the drugs given here, the digoxin is a cardiac glycoside which is an active drug, and carvedilol is a alpha and beta blocker which is again a active drug, And dobutamine, already we have seen it is a beta 1 agonist, which is again an active drug. But enalapril is a AC inhibitor, which acts as a prodrug. So here the right answer is R only. Enalapril, as the suffix indicates pril, it is an AC inhibitor, angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitor. So this is the structure of the enalapril, and we can observe in the structure an ester functionality. So it is having an ester. Because of this ester functionality, it acts as a prodrug. And when this ester is going to be cleaved by hydrolysis, it can be converted to active metabolite. So within the body, it can be metabolized so that the ester functionality can be converted to free carboxylic acid. Now this is the active metabolite of the enalapril. The active metabolite of the enalapril can be called as enalaprilat. The suffix added is the AT. AT indicates active metabolite. So enalapril is one of a prodrug which can be converted to enalaprilat by hydrolysis during the metabolism. Next question. Given below are few of the drugs which acts as vasodilators, identify the drugs that act by release of the nitric oxide. P. Minoxidil. Q. Sodium nitroprusside. R. Sildenafil. S. Nebivolol. So your options are A. QR, B. PS, C. QS, and D. PR. So here we have to identify the drugs which acts as a vasodilator by releasing of the nitric oxide. So here the right answers are Q, that is the sodium nitroprusside, and S. Nebivolol. Q and S, that is option C, is the right answer for this question. Now let us see the explanation how these vasodilators are working. So let us start with the minoxidil. Minoxidil is one of the drugs which acts by opening of the potassium channels and thereby produce a hyperpolarization within the vascular smooth muscle, resulting in the vasodilatation. And minoxidil is topically used in the treatment of alopecia because it promotes the hair growth. And another drug is the sildenafil. Sildenafil is a phosphodiesterase type 5 inhibitor, and this drug is particularly used in the treatment of erectile dysfunction as well as pulmonary hypertension. By blocking the phosphodiesterase type 5, it can increase the cyclic AMP levels, thereby produce the vasodilatation. And third drug is the sodium nitroprusside. Sodium nitroprusside is a nitrovasodilator which can release the nitric oxide. And another drug is the nebivolol. Nebivolol is actually a beta blocker which acts on the beta 1 receptors, but at the same time it is having an additional property of releasing of the nitric oxide. So by releasing the nitric oxide can again produce the vasodilatation. So these two drugs, sodium nitroprusside and nebivolol, can produce a vasodilatation by release of the nitric oxide.